Alright folks, welcome back to another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video with Fat Phil, and today we're going to be talking about and speculating about this upcoming Lightspeed bundles. We've got the new Bad Batch era coming soon. I think we should be hearing about that on the 13th. I feel like that's when we're getting that information. I could be wrong, but I feel like that's the next one that's coming. And, you know, one of the things that a lot of players are beginning to think about is, hey, where's my Bad Batch Lightspeed bundle? Where's my Bad Batch Lightspeed bundle? And I want to talk about the impact that that could have, what we could see as a result of that Bad Batch content, and some of the things you could be doing to prepare for that, whether it's, you know, Zetas, mods, think about the ship, even think about some of the other supporting units you're going to need for that team. So let's go ahead here. Let's give a huge shout out to our channel members for all their continued support. If you're ever interested, that link is down below, along with a link to Discord server. Please go check it out, guys. Thank you again for being a huge part of my community. I really appreciate every single one of you, whether you are just on the council or you have been granted the rank of Jedi Master or Wampa. Thank you for your continued support. It means the world to me. So let's get in here. Let's talk about this Bad Batch era and how you should be preparing. Alright, so the first thing we want to think about here with this Bad Batch era, of course, is the Bad Batch themselves, and are we getting a bundle? Now, the one really nice thing if we did get a Bad Batch bundle, right, is that, you know, when you think about the Dr. Aphra bundle, we got a bunch of Zetas that were included in that bundle along with the Jabba, because there were a lot of characters who were released at that time where the level 7 was the Zeta and the level 8 is an Omicron. And that is actually, I feel like that was the case with something, maybe not. I don't think any Zetas are included here. Sorry, my mistake. No Zetas. I misspoke too soon. Go at me in the comments and say that I'm, you know, an ass. I respect it. So you are going to need Zetas for this team. I do believe Omega has 2 Zetas, and then the rest of the Bad Batch all each have a single Zeta. So in the grand scheme of things, you're like, okay, it's not awful, right? It's not like they need 3 or anything. But it's still not a fun process to have to do all those Zetas. If you want to get the best use out of this team, they need their Zetas. Unfortunately, a lot of the newer characters are kind of designed that they need the Zeta abilities to work. There's some of those older characters, like I think of the Rogue One team with Jyn and Cassian, where if they don't have their Zetas, it's not the end of the world. Is it nice to have? Yes, but it's not like you're screwed if you don't have it. This is one of these factions where you're going to want those Zetas. So just, again, if you want to use them, hey, get the Zeta. The other thing here is that this faction really does like mods. Obviously, Echo just likes to have a lot of speed, but then even a character like Wrecker, having good mods on Wrecker can be extremely important to keep him as good of a tank as possible. And then your tech, my tech's a little bit slow, to be honest, but Tech also likes to be a little bit faster because he needs to be able to bridge the gap between himself and Echo to keep your turn meter train going. And then Hunter, again, Hunter does like some good mods, but you guys can see that I don't have all 6E mods on these guys. And that is actually because as pilots of the Marauder, I tried to slow this ship down so it's slower than Jedi Knight Anakin. When you go to that Galactic Republic, I try to keep it slower than Jedi Knight Anakin. It just feels, you know, feeds into my strategies a little bit more when I was countering some other things. I don't know how important that is now, but for a little bit, it was really important. So again, just more food for thought there that, like, in terms of modding, you don't need to go crazy with all of them, you know, especially somebody like Echo, who, you know, he's not the pilot, so that's okay. But with this Bad Batch era coming, you've got to think that there could be other clone troopers on the horizon. Now, we have already gotten Lightspeed bundles that included Cody and I believe Clone Sergeant, right? I think both of those characters were sold in bundles. So now that would open up the question, what about Captain Rex? What about some of these 501st units that we haven't gotten included before? Those are all on the table. You know, we saw a bundle with literally Nisa and Princess Leia called the Princess Bundle. Could we get one that's the Rex bundle or the Echo bundle, or, you know, that where we've got these multiples of these guys, or Rex and Echo, and it gives you those? I don't know. But just, again, some food for thought there, you know, like we don't know what those bundles could look like, but I would expect to say that I would be shocked if we didn't get more clone troopers in that era. Whether it's more clone troopers in the sense of, hey, we're going to get some extra guys, or bundles are coming. With any of these new Lightspeed bundles that are coming, if you do get the Bad Batch, I think that does open up the door for a lot of you to consider going for Lord Vader, which I'm going to highly recommend because he's friggin' amazing. But I think for a lot of people, that's kind of the one thing that is looming over with that Bad Batch, is that you probably have a lot of these other requirements for him done, and the Bad Batch is just kind of sitting there staring you in the face. So I do believe a lot of people are waiting for that. But if that does happen, you're going to have to consider that you need the Marauder, right? You can't just ignore the Marauder when you get the Bad Batch. So this is a ship that you should have been farming a while ago, but I would be farming it right now. Any extra shards you get of this thing are going to be worth their weight in gold. I would be shocked if they sold the Marauder as a part of that bundle. It's not outside the realm of possibilities, but I would be shocked if they did, simply because of the impact it has to the game. I would be pleasantly surprised for some players if they sold it, right? Because, like, for me, it's not a big deal. I'm not, it's not going to break my, I'm not concerned. But for some people, this is a massive upgrade to their fleets. So, definitely something that I would just, I'm not saying that the Marauder will happen, but I could definitely see a Bad Batch bundle happening. Now, the other thing that could mean is that we're going to get maybe some additional Bad Batch units, whether it's Crosshair or some of those other Imperials who were featured in the Bad Batch series. Could we be getting a Sid? Could we be getting reskinned versions of the Bad Batch where they're kind of more of, they're still going to have that clone trooper. The thing is, they probably still have that clone trooper tag, but maybe they don't have the Galactic Republic tag. Maybe it's Scoundrels or something. So there is some, hey, there's some other tags here that maybe we can't really visit anymore because Galactic Republic doesn't exist. So, could they potentially go into Scoundrels, or even potentially something like a Bounty Hunter faction? That's not, again, it's not outside the realm of possibilities. There's, Boba Fett, Sign of Jango was given a Bounty Hunter tag. We could give it to the Bad Batch. Now, the other consideration here is, what else would you need for the regular Bad Batch? And that's kind of where characters like Shaak Ti really come in handy. She's very good, especially with the unique Zeta. Again, I know it's another Zeta, but it's really good. So Shaak Ti's really solid there. And then, of course, Captain Rex with the Bad Batch is basically a cheat code. And that's assuming that they don't sell, Omega in that bundle. They give you Omega, and you've got the Bad Batch team. She is worth it. Like, she definitely does make the Bad Batch better. I feel like she gets a lot of hate, but I think Omega is actually really, really good. So I would not be shocked about that. But where I think this kind of heads to is that if we do get Bad Batch content, be prepared that Conquest is going to need these guys. Very similar to the way that this current Conquest needs Shin and Merrick. It needs, the Imperial Remnant troopers. It needs those Night Sister units like Morgan and Great Mothers. If we happen to get some of that Bad Batch content, I would expect that you're going to need them in Conquest. So there's a situation here where you're going to need to be prepared to have some resources to either get them done or be able to get through those battles okay. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, yawning is late. But it is something that I think we need to be prepared for, that they've, CG's kind of shown us their hand, that they're okay us knowing, hey, you're going to need this faction or this faction if it's something that's newer or something that most people don't have geared up. So I definitely think that's a possibility that I would at least be prepared for. Again, I know you guys are all like burnt out on Zetas and resources, and we've got to kind of talk about that a little bit, just kind of decompressing from these bundles. That, do they need to slow down? It's an interesting thing that I think many of you would have said, I never want them to slow down, but you might be feeling some of that, I don't want to say, bundle lag almost, where like you're just kind of lagging now because you don't know what direction to head because you've got so much that you don't know what to do with it. It's kind of like when my daughters, this is so bad, but it's like when my daughters try to play with their toys and they just pull out every damn toy out of the bin, throw it on the floor, and then they just like jump on it. Like they don't, because they have so much, they're overstimulated, they don't know what to do. And many of you are probably feeling that way with these bundles. And so I think I would love to see a Bad Batch bundle for the sake of Lord Vader, that you all get to see how friggin' good this dude is in every game mode when you use him properly. I love Lord Vader, if you can't tell, so I, obviously I'm kind of biased, but it is something that I think once you get your hands on him, you realize how good of a GL Lord Vader can be for you. And I know the Bad Batch is kind of a big reason nobody does that. So, anyway, guys, that's just some speculation, kind of, as we head into this. Let me know your thoughts. Is that a bundle that you would purchase or something that you're like, I'm going to wait on that. I'm not really convinced. I'd love to hear from you. Again, if you're still watching, Lord Vader is not a failure in the comments. We're gonna turn this into like a Lord Vader stan channel. We've got I'm gonna be like the the creator of Misfit Tunes. Like all the characters that people hate on, like I'm here for it. Unless it's Rose Tico, we can all hate on her collectively. I love you guys. May the force be with you, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, my friends.